What's up, YouTube family? My name is Shaka and this is African-American-Made. Today I'm talking with Dr. Tadzia Dennis, the CEO and founder of Tadzia Consulting. And the multi-talented Dr. Dennis has welcomed me to her home to share with us how she helps college students become more successful and how she inspires others through her affirmational work. Dr. Dennis has earned 5 degrees, is a published author, and a very savvy businesswoman. So get your mind right, because today we're visiting Tadzia Consulting. Okay, how are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for taking your time to talk with me today. Been looking forward to this interview for a couple of weeks now. We've been missing each other.
We have.
Won't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do with your service?
Well, thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. I have also been looking forward to having this interview with you. I am Dr. T. Dr. Tadzia Dennis is how you say my name, but I go by Dr. T. I am an higher education consultant as well as an affirmations guru. I have 5 degrees in higher education, starting with an associate's, a bachelor's, 2 masters, and a PhD in higher education administration. I am full-time faculty with the university right now, helping students go to school who never thought they would have an opportunity to go, who were told that they couldn't go, have been incarcerated, students who are dealing with addiction, with homelessness, with a whole bunch of life happenings. That's what I do in my full-time job. I'm also a higher education consultant with my business, Tadzia Consulting, which is under the umbrella of Life-Changing Consulting. And that is my business that houses my higher education consulting business, my catering business. I'm also a caterer on the side, as well as an affirmations guru. I have co-authored a couple of books that are all about affirmations. One is Affirmations for a Woman on a Mission, and the other is Affirmations for a CEO on the Move. And I just love supporting, helping, encouraging, uplifting people to be the best of themselves that they can be, celebrating who they are, where they come from, and helping each other celebrate each other as well.
That is great. Man, you cover so many areas and you're such a dynamic professional. I want to talk about a little bit of each of your endeavors. What inspired you to do so many things?
It's not about me at all. It's about my Father. It's about God. And I started out my bachelor's degree as hotel restaurant management. I had an opportunity. I went to Northern Arizona University, which is a predominantly white institution. I worked there. And I had an opportunity to become a catering manager while I was getting my degree, catering for Sodexo and then Sodexo Marriott when they came together, as well as doing some personal bartending for the president of NAU at that time. And I loved it. I loved being able to take the thoughts and ideas of someone and their dream of what they want to see and bringing it to fruition and making it beautiful. I love a beautifully set up catered room and just those types of events. And so I was working, doing that and just enjoying it. But I was spending 70, 80 hours doing that work. And I had a new baby and a husband at the time, and it was just too much. It was a lot. So I figured I didn't want to do that for the rest of my life. So I went back and got my first master's in career and technical education with an emphasis in K-12 administration, but realized that they would not hire me as a principal or superintendent without 20 years in the classroom. So I went back and got the second master's in higher education, in educational leadership with an emphasis in higher education community college. Fell in love with working in the higher education environment. You know, at the time, not only was I catering, but I had also gotten some different roles in higher education. I was a resident assistant, and I became a resident assistant for family housing. Then I went and worked at the advising center on campus and started advising students and supporting students, the Gateway Center. And then I got a position as a senior program coordinator with the Multicultural Student Center. And so I was working through and in higher education as I was getting my degrees and just fell in love with it tremendously. And so I've continued my work in higher education. My PhD is in higher education administration. And then I just so happened to, let me not say just so happened, right? God works in mysterious ways. I befriended someone and she sent me a message and we actually connected, and she was at a funeral one day. And we were going to talk about me co-authoring this book with her. But instead, I needed it. And the message was to speak about her and what she was going through and what was happening that day. And that opened the door for me to become an author for the first book. And then she invited me to come back and be an author in the second book. So God is moving and shaking. You know, I always thought higher education is where we'd be. I have over 20 years of experience in higher education, 5 degrees. And I love it. But God said, you know what? You're destined for more. And so he brought the affirmations into my world. And that's why I created Life Changing Consulting, because it houses every bit of my interests and the things that I do. You know, these days we all have to have side hustles, right? They say it's 6 to 8 different forms of income that we need to have. And that's just what I'm doing. And I'm trying to make them all work. But being an educator is a service field. Being a caterer is a service field. Being an affirmations guru is a service field. So it's still all about serving, helping others, loving others the way that God loves me.
From what angle do you deliver your affirmations? What's the foundation of your and where your messages come from?
Sure. With the first book, my affirmations came out of life experience. I was in a relationship. I was married for 20 years, and it was detrimental to me in every way, emotionally, physically, mentally. And a lot of me was grown out of that, and that I dealt with so much and I learned so much. A number of the affirmations that I have in the book came out of that situation. The one affirmation that is used most often, that's been published a number of times, is the only thing in life that can't be fixed is death. And that goes along with how we experience life, and that we have drama that comes to us all the time. A lot of it's unnecessary drama. We have problems and situations, trials and tribulations. We have good times and bad times that come to us. But if we take a moment to breathe, to stop, to think, we can work our way through it and we can get past it. And as long as we're here and alive to be able to do that, then we can move past it. You know, what happens at a moment's time is going to move forward, and it's going to change, and it can get better from there. So that's where the first affirmations for that book came from. The videos that I do now as the Affirmations Guru, all about what I'm gifted with, and it's thoughts that come to me or situations that I'm in, things that I'm dealing with that I know I'm not the only person who's dealing with these situations and having things happen. And people talk to me about their experiences and what's happening. And so I just want to share that. I want to let people know that they are great and they are tremendous as who they are, no matter what's hitting them, what's coming at them, what trial or tribulation they're going through, that they are still an amazing, tremendous person. For me, I'm a believer, full-time, wholeheartedly, daughter of God, and I believe in him wholeheartedly. But for those who don't, you know, I still want them to remember that they are someone special, that they can make a difference in this life. And we start by doing that by making a difference in our own lives and loving ourselves.
Through those life experiences, that those affirmations kind of mirrored what you were going through,
right?
And it sparked you to take a different direction or change the dynamic of the relationships you were in.
It sparked me to identify me.
Oh,
it sparked me to understand who I am.
Okay.
For so long, my identity, because I was so young, my identity was found in this marriage, and it was found in having these children. You know, I wasn't Tadzia, I was Reginald and Darius's mom.
So your second affirmation exploration, let's talk about that.
So the second book is Affirmations for a CEO on the Move. And because I own a couple of businesses, because I am what people say boss, I am definitely an alpha female. In that I am all about handling business. I'm all about making things happen, moving forward. I'm all about integrity. In my job, you know, I talk to students, advise students, support students in spending lots and lots of money, thousands of dollars to go to school to get their higher education. I can't speak about that, and I don't feel like I'd have a right to if I didn't walk it like I talk it. Like the Migos, I think that's the group. I love that song, and walk it like I talk it, which means you practice what you preach. That's the old school version of that, right? So I speak to
I
them.
love that plug you just gave the Amigos. You identify it now. Okay, all right.
I don't listen to. I think I know the group.
I didn't get the Amigos from you up until this point, but okay.
I'm not really that person, but when that song came out, I was like, "This is practice what you preach."
All right, you bumping it. Okay.
So, I was all about it. Like I work with integrity. I work with. I have to. My integrity is what I have. You know, God tells us to love others the way that He loves us, and the way that we love ourselves. And the only way for me to do that is to be the best person that I can be to myself and to the people around me. That means working with integrity. That means I tell the truth. I'm very honest. I will support you and I will love you and I'll be there with you, but you're going to hear from me my truth and your truth and what I see and what's happening. It rubs a lot of people the wrong way because people like to be sugar-coated and they like to hear, well, it kind of could be or kind of sort of. And I'm like, that to me is doing a disservice when I could tell you the truth. Yeah, we do. But I'm not that person. And I tell people all the time, if you're going to come to me, I'm going to tell you the truth, because that's what God loves, is the truth. And I want to be true and honest to you so that we can work together. I'm not only going to tell you the truth and I'm not going to leave you there with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to support you in figuring out a way for us to get you to that next level, to that next place, to that next goal, to complete that next task in the midst of that truth. And so, you know, it as a CEO and as a person who worked with my businesses, I work with integrity, and that's what you'll find in anybody that I've supported, anybody that I've helped, is that I'm true and honest to them, and I will help them holistically in every way that I can, but they know what they're going to get from me. And I tell people that from the beginning. I'm not for the faint at heart.
So we want the success and we want all the trappings that come with the success, but having those hard, especially when we talk about mentorship, right? I guess we have a different ideal of how to guide people more softly and tenderly and things like that. So I identify with what you're saying there. You got to be honest with people and to get them to the success they want to have. Would you agree with that? I
agree wholeheartedly. And, you know, with truth and honesty comes accountability. And that's what a lot of us are afraid of. And, you know, one of the things that I got from Walt Disney, and, you know, we know who Walt Disney was, so he is who he is. But one of the things that he said is keep moving forward. And I'm a believer in continuing to move forward. I always tell my students and people that I work with, keep moving forward. Let's deal with it. Let's be honest and true about it. Let's work through it. Let's identify some solutions and let's keep moving forward.
That's a perfect segue into my next question. The students that you mentor and you guide, what are some of the most common challenges they come to you with?
My students right now that I work with have life truly happening. Life is happening for us all, but when I say truly happening, I have a number of students who have been incarcerated and just coming out of prison, who are coming out of jail. I have a number of students who are homeless. They go to the library or they go sit somewhere on their phones to do their homework. I have a number of students who are in lower socioeconomic situations, many students of color, students who are first generation students. Students who never believed that they could go to school, or were told that they were never smart enough, they were never good enough, or right now that they're too old, they're too busy, they can't. And those are the students that I get that come through my class in teaching. They come through my class. My class is the very first class that the students have to take. And I teach them how to be successful in school. And you know, there's already a written curriculum, there's already a written standard, but what I do is I take that to the next level. I support them holistically. You know, I tell my students, this is resources that you can use, this is help that you can get, that I am your biggest cheerleader, and I'm here to support you in any way that I can. And just by being there, just by being a true support system, answering their calls or their messages, or showing them different ways of doing things, my students thrive, and I can get them to that next level, into that next class, and that next space.
There's so many different groups that you deal with that are either in crisis or they have extreme situations. I mean, I'm thinking about the prison system, coming out of prison and having that mindset to try to seeking higher education and the hurdles that a person coming out of prison would have to deal with. And you having to help guide them through the system, right? And
Yes.
teach them how to be students.
Yes.
That's what I'm hearing overall.
That's what I do.
With all of these groups, you teach them how to learn, how to study, how to succeed and navigate through that labyrinth of
Of a lot.
Of
It's
a
all a lot.
those
Yes.
corridors are big.
Yeah.
Now the homeless population, you mentioned they go to the libraries to study and stuff like that. And I'm imagining the encounters that I've had with homeless people. I mean, I don't have words for a person that have to navigate through homelessness and dedicate themselves and be committed to the task of turning in assignments and being a successful student. Talk to me about that a little bit with that group.
Well, you have to really consider it, and you have to think about it. You know, people are proud of me, right? People applaud me. You've got all these degrees. You're smarter than 98% of the people in the world. You are educated and you're a go-getter and this and that. And I appreciate that. I appreciate it tremendously that I'm able to do what I do. But when I think about a student, when I think about one of my homeless students who don't know where they're going to get their next meal from, who is sleeping on the street or sleeping in their car, and I think about the tenacity, I think about the perseverance, I think about the go-getter, the drive that's in them. Those are the individuals that impress me. Those are the individuals that I applaud because they see that this education is going to make a difference in their lives, and they're willing to risk what they have to risk to get there to do it. And they fight through the situations and through being on the streets and not knowing what they're doing or where they're going or where they're going to lay their head at night to gain a higher education and to get knowledge and to change their lives. And those are the people that truly I see in that are making a difference in this world. Even those who were incarcerated, who went to prison for whatever they did, and they're coming out and they're like, I got to make a difference. I got to change and be different. And just the strength in that is so huge. You know, some of us are gifted with lives that we have silver spoons and we accomplish goals and tasks and we do things. But when you're coming out of a world that you weren't given anything, and but the gift of life from God, that you have to turn things over. The work in that and the struggle in that and the perseverance in that is just tremendous. It's just tremendous. So it is my honor and it's my pleasure and a blessing for me to be there to uplift those students and to support them.
And in addition to your guidance, are there resources available adjacent to what you provide to help these different groups? I know they have different needs. Some, and of course, needs overlap too, right? You got a person that might be a first Gen Xer,
Right.
that may be homeless,
Right.
right?
Right.
Or incarcerated. So,
Yeah.
are there additional resources that you help them navigate, or is it just in the confines of what you do in school?
Right. No, the university has a number of different resources, if anything from mental health assistance and support in that way, to where they can get advice and assistance on maybe some resources locally and those types of things. So we try to help them holistically as much as we can, and just be there as much as we can. There's only so many things that I can do as a faculty member.
Absolutely.
They have advisors who can do more than what I can do. But me as a faculty member, I am there, and like I said, I am their biggest cheerleader. I will talk with them, I will support them. I get my information on my phone, on my computer. When I see messages come through, I try to respond. I try to just say, you got this, and you can do this, and let's talk it through. Students who are doing discussion posts, I don't even know what a discussion post is. I don't know how to start the conversation. Well, let's talk about it. And the more that you talk about it, the more ideas that you get, and the more you're able to get things started, because they don't know what they don't know. And they don't know how to do half of what it is that we're expecting of them. But it's my job to help them understand and to teach them in a way that they can understand it.
Absolutely. It seems like a lot of us are coming into the classroom or into the university with one leg tied behind our back, you know, or one arm tied to the leg. So I thank you for your passion and your generosity and going beyond, because I mean, so many areas, I was that person in some of these categories at one time. So if it wasn't for people like you just talking me through it, the work was on me, you know, ultimately it falls on me, but just having that extra, that hand touching your back, you know, means a lot. It really does. In your estimation, what percentage of this group actually make it to graduation?
I don't know the numbers and I don't know what the data says from the university. I would probably say 50% maybe. 50 or 60%. You know, these students are facing so much that so many of them just can't make it through. One of the units that we teach in the class is all about grit and about that one thing that you hold on to that carries you, that keeps you moving forward, that motivates you, that will help you see it through your trials and your tribulations, that will help you to accomplish the goal.
So let's talk a little bit about your consulting practice.
When I started the consulting business, I was advising PhD students in higher education, and I had so many students who are in their doctoral programs and PhD programs who just did not know what the conversations were. They were being told what they needed to do by their chair, by their lead faculty member, and had no clue of what that meant or how to navigate those waters of what to do in that space. And I was there. I was one of those people. I had no idea. There's this assumption that because you're at this level, even as being a first generation student or as even being a student of color, you know this and you know what I'm saying to you, and you're a doctoral student and you should know how to do this. And it's like, no, I've never heard this. I don't know this. I don't know how to do this. I don't even know what you're talking about. And so my business came out of being able to be the middleman for a lot of those students and helping them to understand the language that's being spoken to them so that they know how to accomplish the goal and to get what they need to get to move to each level of that process.
I kind of feel like there's a blueprint for certain people or certain circles. I mean, that makes it easier for that path, right? But because some of your students may be coming from, and I'm throwing this out here, they may be coming from different walks of life where they weren't given those seeds and those tools, right? So they're kind of coming in kind of like late at the party, if you will. And it's time to play catch up. I liken that to a person in the inner city, and I don't want to stereotype, but a person in the inner city who managed to graduate and they want to go to college, and they find that when they get there, they're nowhere close to their peers. Is it similar? It's
very similar. And you have to think, when we say first generation, I'm a first generation college student, right? We say first generation. We'd liken that to going into being in our associate's to bachelor's program. I'm a first generation college student, starting school, going into school. But as I move forward, I'm still a first generation master's student. I'm still a first generation doctoral student. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's happening. I have never seen this before. I don't know what a chair is. People look at me and like, your chair? What do you mean, like a chair like you're sitting on? I'm like, no, chair is your lead faculty member. They don't even know what a chair is. I'm still a first generation at this, right? So I'm learning, and those students, the students that I specialize in working with are students of color, first gen, and students from lower socioeconomic backgrounds. They don't know, and they have no idea. And a lot of faculty members and a lot of people will say, you're at the doctoral level, you should know this already. You're an experienced student, you should know this. When I say these things to you, research it and look it up. And it's like, really?
So is it the attitude on that level? Is it the same attitude as I have to figure it out and you have to figure it out?
That's it. A lot of times
I can help you. I can make it a little easy for you, but that's not how it went for me.
Trial by fire. And it's like, I'm gonna throw you in there. I'm here. I'm gonna throw you in there. And I'm going to see what you can do. I'm going to see how you figure out how to get your way out, even though I know how to get out.